You happy now? You satisfied? You wanted me to review this a while back, and I had to take time, okay? I had to reread this to get my full thoughts on it. This is a very controversial anime. Not because the anime that aired itself, but what happens after the anime. So many times where we get a good anime and there's no continuation of it, where people wish there was, where you have to go and read the source material. And because of that, we have a lot of people who don't want to read, and trust me, there's a lot of people who don't want to read, than those who do. And unfortunately, those who do sometimes will be disappointed. Sometimes things get better, and sometimes things get worse. And for Bunny Drop, things are in a very weird area when it comes to cultural understanding and just plain out weirdness. So Usagi Drop, aka Bunny Drop, is about a parenthood story about a guy named Dakichi who starts taking care of a girl named Ren, who is his grandfather's illegitimate daughter. So that means this is technically his aunt, meaning this will be his mom's sister, young sister. So you telling me his grandfather was a freaking Rolling Stone, even at his age? Like, this dude's in his like 30s or 40s, and his grandfather's way older than that, and he's still kicking it. Like, damn, this dude. Prop the granddaddy. But granddaddy can't take care of his daughter, or let alone, I'm not sure if he really wants to. So it's up for Daikichi to take care of Ren. And of course, having this kind of responsibility to put on to you, especially when you yourself are not prepared for it, can be very, very overwhelming. And now, seeing that happens, he learns the truth of responsibility in parenthood and seeing life through a different lens. And we've seen these stories a lot with buddy daddies and plenty of stories when it comes with a guy who is expected to live his life lonely, all of a sudden takes care of a girl who comes out of nowhere. Just like Hina Matsuri, aka Hina Festival. I wish that would get a sequel because that was wholesome and yet funny at the same time. It's about girls from the future coming to the present with Esper powers and stuff like that, and it's a good read. But this one, however, is completely different because the anime was wholesome, people liked it. Seeing Ren and Daikichi's dynamic was very nice. No one could get tired of the old, lonely man taking care of a little girl at the end of the day. My favorite one was definitely Buddy Daddies, the two assassins taking care of Millie stuff. That was adorable. This one, however, was great until I read the source material, which was years ago, but I had to reread it to get a hold on it. So pretty much what happens in the source material is that she is in high school and she wants to marry Daikichi. Daikichi is very against this and says you should live life the way you want to and be free. But however, she wants this. And she says, fine, and give it till you graduate and think about it and stuff. So the thing I always hear when it comes to this anime/manga is this, that it's a grooming. Is it an incest manga? Technically, yes. No, absolutely yes. This is an incest manga. But is it a grooming manga? No. And I feel like the problem with the West a lot, especially in my generation, is that we misuse words way too much. We just throw words out there at anything because we just don't like it or understand it, so we throw it out there. It's just a grooming manga. No, it's not a grooming manga. Grooming is when you are taking something or someone and you're training it and you're isolating it from outside and putting it where you want to be. You're building it up stack by stack to do things the way you want it to be. You're raising someone the way you want them to be raised. And grooming itself is a very great word because you can use the word itself as well when you are raising children and for the betterment of their health as well. But now these days, everything's taken to the extreme. So no, this is not a grooming thing because he's not raising Ren to be his wife. He's not raising Ren to fall in love with him. He's just raising Ren as a guardian. Seeing things that like that just makes no sense to me. So she grows up. Now, if this wasn't his aunt, because technically this is his aunt, by the way. If this wasn't his aunt and stuff, his grandfather's daughter, I'm like, I would have been skeptical about it, but it would be passable in my opinion. Because we have this thing now where, for some reason, we keep pushing up the age of consent and stuff further and further. People are even talking about you should be now an adult by the age of 25 and stuff. Like, what the fuck? It's like, dude, it's like no one wants to be an adult anymore, so they keep trying to push up the age. But that's a conversation for another day. What I'm seeing here is that people are wondering like that he is the PDF word, which is not true because she is of legal age. And you gotta have, your words gotta have meaning. They gotta have a line. If they don't have a line, then anything can just mean anything these days. The point where the word itself loses all meaning and it falls in obscurity to later on, where people just don't care about the word, because when someone says the word, where you actually see the actual definition for it, people won't take it seriously because the word itself keeps being used so nonchalant. But Daikichi himself is not a rumor slash PDF kind of guy, because first of all, he was against it. I'm sitting there reading the chapters. The guy was totally against it, but she was for it. Well, he could have said no, but in a way, he gave time to think about it and just gave into it. And the thing about this is that this is not the only time this happened when it comes to Asian stories. There are tons of Asian stories that I have read, where one about a dude who takes in a girl who's from the spirit world, where he takes care of her, but she disappears, and she comes back into his life, and then they end up being married. Or a girl who, her bloodline was whoever she was with, she'll give them ultimate luck, but if they leave, their entire life becomes misfortune, and then she meets this guy at his teenage years, and she spent some time with him, but as she got older, she went to find him again to marry him. So there's a lot of, especially in Korean and Chinese novels, where this situation happens. Now, the true gray area for me is the incest part. It's like, what the fuck, man? This is your aunt, man. It's just weird, but it's always been that kind of thing where I do kind of respect how the Asian writers aren't afraid to go into those gray and black areas of reality and stuff. Like, the thing is that this is a cultural clash of ideas. And we have two cultures, two different sides that will have this moral high ground where, like, one side will think their way of living is better or right compared to the other's one way of side of living. Like, you guys do this is terribly immoral and indecent. Well, according to our culture and society, this is how things are meant to be. So therefore, no, you're wrong. You're in the wrong. So we have this division, which is understandable because both sides are going to think they're right. Especially when you have a culture of both different sides of religion as well. Like, well, your religion says this is especially when it's slowly not becoming religious, like the West, and they're like, well, this is immoral and hypocritical. But the problem with that is that 10 years from now, what we're doing right now will probably be seen as disgusting or immoral 10 years down the line. That's just how it works when it comes to Western culture, especially American Western culture. Now, with Asian culture, most of the times things stay the same. They have this way of life, how they do things from thousands of years ago into this modern society. So to them, it'll be like, well, this is how we see things through the past, and this is how we're going to see things in the future. And they'll make adjustments here and there. But deep down, they're going to look at us and say, well, you guys are hypocrites. You guys used to do this. Now you don't seem as okay. And what you're going to do now, later down the line, you're going to also see not as okay as well. So for me, as being raised in this Western society, we're against incest and stuff like that, but yet we're for other things that other cultures will see as immoral as well. So it's an entire cluster of things that to get around, and of course, I'm trying to see this through a gray area, not black and white. That would be super easy, but I don't want to do that. I want to see this through a gray lens. Like, what if I was born somewhere else, or a different kind of culture, or a different kind of society of ideology? Will I be able to dislike Usagi Drop to what point where everyone else does because of the second half of it? Where I'm in this culture right now where, of course, it would make sense for us to dislike this right now for what's happening. Which is funny enough, our own culture's past has to do with us marrying people off at the age of 10, for God's sakes. And it's very disturbing, but to them, it was the right thing to do. Because their society was very low, life expectancy was very short, and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not justifying it, but that's how they saw life. They saw life that way, the right way. But as time goes on, things become more accessible, easy, convenient, um, our ideals change in a way, especially when we don't have no religion or culture to really chain us down. We keep moving forward and stuff for things, whether it's for the better or for the worse. So with that being said, Usagi Drop was an interesting read, I will have to say, but my opinion about it is I don't know what to feel about this. I don't agree with the incestual side, but when it comes to him marrying her at the end, if it wasn't her being a related blood relative, his freaking aunt, I would have been like, I feel weird about this, but if that's what you want, what you want. If both parties are both adults and stuff, and that's what they want to do, because I have to think about it carefully, because my grandfather and my grandmother were in different age gaps, big age gaps, and if they didn't get married, I wouldn't exist, and stuff like that, and plenty of other people that I've known wouldn't exist. So it's a very gray area like that, because if both parties are consenting and all this, you can't really complain because in the day, it's their life, it's their business and stuff. But then again, as you know how society is, so what are you going to do about that? But I digress. Usagi Drop was an interesting read. It's okay. It's not my best father, daughter, daddy kind of manga. It was adorable for what it was. But other than that, it's below the belt compared to other things, It's not no buddy daddies, Buddy daddies is my top. I love the crap out of buddy daddies. So just go watch Buddy Daddies if you don't want to watch this. Go watch Buddy Daddies. But those with an open mind and are not too quick to judge, go read it, go watch it. Give it a try and see what you think. Who knows? But anyway, this is like after this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, and of course, hit that bell icon. This has the Madcrownxox. I'm Anime. Signing out.